Oh, we could look at the Craftsman saw that I got. We probably usually would use a different word for it, like a different, like maybe we'd mention the brand or something. Yes, because we'd like the brand. Okay, quite well. But I assume that there's something good about it. Okay, that they have the brand and that they made a saw and a power draw and all those sorts of things to fit a new type of battery. I don't really support the name of the battery. It has the word lie in it, lithium. Okay, it's possible that it caused people to have sex or possibly drop dead. I'm not sure which, or sleep. Okay, who knows? Not sure what it is. I assume that words have an effect because we seem to go through the words in a curriculum, different types of metal, different types of chemistry. Okay, like that. And that society in general seems to do a curriculum for a lot of things. Then for that power saw, okay, it uses a battery that doesn't include when you buy it, which is the first time I bought one that doesn't include it, and it's already expensive. It's $100. Okay, for just a saw. And I didn't think it was so much that it needed to be $100. It might be $50. Okay, worth it. I would have thought it's probably $50 worth of saw, and then it might be $100 if it includes everything and is not like it's superior quality or something. $100 is quite a bit of money. Okay, especially a manufacturing economy. Mostly they put it together like pretty fast with mostly robotics. Anyways, so it doesn't include the battery, and also the power energizer is also sold separately. So that all kinds of components of it are sold individually, and each is expensive, as expensive as the saw is. Which is, so all of a sudden it's not the same price at all. Okay. And I've been trying to make some good of it. I've been trying to think of it. Okay, but it turns out that I need it for a lot of projects. For some reason, my projects seem to be circling that area. Okay, like, so I keep needing this saw, and I keep needing to be working on it. Okay, and I've checked the store where I purchased it, and I checked the other store that sells it, and I only find it's expensive. Okay, and it has that battery, which we didn't purchase. So we're thinking of making something from tinfoil, making a capacitor to the same voltage, and having it be large. I don't know if that works. Somebody says a capacitor doesn't work the way you're thinking it does. You put a signal in one side, and a matching signal is pulled from the other side to balance it. A plus every time there's a plus, there's a minus on the other side. Okay, on the other, so it's like kind of like a window. Okay, where there's something on one side and something on the other side. And then now I have a theory actually about how capacitors work. This is off the topic actually of the battery, but or the saw. And my theory is that the electron has a wave, an energy wave, that's several energy wave frequencies together. They could be all the same frequency, but for some reason they're not exactly the same wave. They continuously balance with each other. I've drawn it a few times where there's one wave, let's say like this, and then I have a theory that when a wave, we saw in school that when a wave encounters an object, sometimes it damps out a part of the wave, and then the wave forms a different direction. Okay, over on the side. Then we could do the same thing. Let's say there's a wave here, and then there's another wave, and we could say that when it's intersecting, kind of like this, there's an area like that. It might be kind of the same effect, okay, as that, and it might cause this wave to kind of accelerate into the space. That would be a change of frequency, okay, and it might absorb some of the energy. Might increase the energy of that one, the one that's behind, and it might absorb some of the energy from the other. So there might be a change of frequency of both, and there might be a change of direction. So I've hypothesized that interaction is like kind of like string, how you have thin fibers rubbing together, and then they're continuously kind of turning like that. And I don't see it exactly being led. I see it being kind of like as if it's kinked a little bit, like scissors on paper, where you cause it to curve like that. Oh, so it's kind of braiding into a circle, and then we get matter. That's my theory. It's called the quantum adhesion theory of matter. My name is Martin Holmes, and my theory for capacitance is that an energy strand that's like that, or not strand at all. Okay, it's a energy interaction. Okay, reaches from one side of the capacitor to the other, past the insulator. That the main part of the atom is too maybe big, or doesn't have the harmonics. It bounces off of the insulator. The insulator is exactly the same thing. It's made of exactly the same thing, but the harmonics, every time something interacts with it, it bounces it back. Okay, but the electron, I imagine, is passing from one side to the other and gets kind of attached. Kind of a little bit, like it's a little bit rubbing like this, and it's kind of keeping it in place. Oh, so it pulls, like it kind of would absorb every single electron that comes into the area, or every single, it would kind of, now the electron stays on the side of the capacitor that it's on. It doesn't change it, but it just kind of takes it out of action. It doesn't go back into the circuit. So then the amount that it does that would be the amount of voltage, that the capacitor would be rated for, and have applied on one side of the capacitor. Right. So we thought, anyways, that we'd make a capacitor that was 20 volts, 20 volt saw, and we'd fill it to 20 volts and see if it works, and then hopefully it lasts for a while. For a capacitor tends to last forever, but the amount of electricity in it, I guess it depends on a few factors. The size of the capacitor and the voltage, I think, are the main features. So we thought we'd probably do that, test it, and then we're interested in the names of things, and we noticed that the name is from Craftsman. We noticed from Mastercraft that when we buy a Mastercraft table saw, not a table saw, drill press. We have a Mastercraft drill press. It's quite nice. I think that's from Mastercraft. Then there's a curriculum of usage. That they bring a person through, like each of the things. Here's all the things that can go wrong with the machine. They show, there's fan belts, here are the adjustments, here's how it basically works, here's the table, so they kind of do that. And now they're not present in the room, and it's not necessarily written in the manual. I believe it's either that's the way they've brought the machine in, so a person is sort of reading the curriculum historically, or that there's a number of operators at the manufacturing plant who are experts at it, and they're kind of keeping tabs on each user remotely. I'm not exactly sure how to describe that technology to somebody who is me, who's my own person. If I was the listener, I would say that's interesting, but the person doesn't have a camera at my house. The person doesn't have they're not, but they are apparently having the ability to see and participate with the person, possibly with their own mind, as if they were talking from one laptop to another laptop, and somehow having a fair bit of access to things like the camera and maybe the keyboard. They might type a few things, on the keyboard, or display a few things on the screen, which would represent, they might cause the person to do a few activities, a few gestures, and they might cause the person to present, some number of the scenarios that represent the qualities of the saw or the drill press, in this instance, from Mastercraft. So they would show the person the best practices, and the person would end up mastering that ability. They become quite able at it. Then the craftsman, I presume, is something. It's not talking about the craft. They're talking about the person. They're talking about building the character of the person, and it's called craftsman. And it doesn't include everything. The Doesn't include the saw. Doesn't include the battery or the battery energizer. And I have a battery and a battery energizer for my drill press or my portable drill. Okay, that's a Black & Decker. That's nice. Then I'm not sure. That's a different voltage and a different fit. Okay, it doesn't. So it doesn't. I looked at if it was going to fit, because then I just use that one. It's 18 volts, and it probably work. Anyway, then I decided, well, maybe they're showing. I'm pretty sure they don't want the person returning the product. Okay, that might be. It might be to teach the person to read all the messaging. Okay, that's like that. Or it might be to teach the person to return it. It might be to return it if they weren't interested in that service, in the craftsman service. Which would be a bit unfortunate. That'd be too bad. And then if they were interested in, I'm not sure what, for some reason. It might be look ahead. It might be to have a person look ahead to planning. It could be money planning. Could be taking a trip, like a shopping trip or a trip to the bank. Like that sort of thing. Planning, where a person is making a concept of how many trips do you want this to take. 1 trip, 2 trips, 3 trips. Because there's 3 items, up to 3 items, plus supplies like saw blades and who knows what else. So there's that. That might be a thing. I myself am working on remote communities. Which planning ahead is a big part of that plan. Like it might be like a ship. Where you have to plan everything ahead, and once you leave the port, there's not a trip back with a, let's say, a helicopter or something very, very expensive. It's not likely. I mean, you just couldn't do it. A person could lose their career over it. If it's anyway, it's just not likely, or not. They can keep their career over it. It could be that person made the right decision. Something. So there's stuff like that. There's probably postal service apparently that comes in and out by who knows how. There it arrives. Probably just electronic, but they just beam it there with transporter. Who knows? A ship, sometimes they have a postal ship or ships at port. They know where they're going to be on a certain day. So they schedule things. It might be a little bit like that with, let's say, an Arctic community. It's in the far north. They might receive a shipment of fuel every summer. They might receive a shipment of food. It might be one at the beginning of the summer and one in the middle of the summer. I don't think there'd be one at the end of the summer, because the winter sets in pretty fast there. A ship can't afford to get stuck. It's much, much more expensive if the ice sets in for a ship to navigate. So anyways, stuff like that. So somehow it might be like that, where the person has to plan their money, plan their trips, and plan what product they want ahead of time. So that's interesting, and we've come up with another path, which is build a capacitor. Somebody's on the phone, start the company to make that, and that sounds like it would be a great thing for all the things, all the little batteries, all the way up to the biggest batteries, because they never wear out. Capacitors are supposed to last 50 years. It's like a appliance. At the house, it's not. They don't wear out. They don't fatigue. They don't. Now, the other thing that we have about batteries, now while we're on the topic, because of that, the introduction of the little battery, is the concept of using it. Like I noticed that some people are able to fill up their cameras, camera battery, from will. They're able to cause the chemistry or something like it. They're either simulating the electricity, or they're hiring a service which energizes the chemistry and causes an atom by atom reaction, possibly to re-energize the battery. Or it could be that it's a programmatic world and that they're imagining it back into full capacity. I imagine it is full again, and it is full again from a change of the programmatic setting, just like it would be If it was a game, an adventure game on the computer, and the person needed sleep, you might just click a button. Okay, just so you don't have to wait 8 hours. Okay, so it might be like that. It might. Okay, we would have to consider it. But somehow, I haven't learned that ability yet. If I hold up a battery, I can fill it up from the electricity of the wall, and I can do some things that cause it to occur. Like sometimes I can make the letter O with a power line. Oh, and by making like a rope, or not a rope, but a set of curves. Okay, with it, and then I find all my batteries stay full all day. And I believe it's like a service. Okay, that is saying fill up the batteries all the time, and we'll pay it on the regular electricity bill. Okay, and then I think it's a communication to the power company. Marty Holmes, Sturgio, Ontario, and it is February 2, 2018 +1.